Everybody, welcome back. Hang on one second. I'm not going away, all right? I just have to go and look at something. Let's see what's happening now. Just give me a second. I don't think it's happening. All right. Okay. Hang on a second. I'm still here. I'm still here. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. All right. All right. All right. Give me one more second. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm really here. I really am here. Hang on. I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm in 2 places at the same time. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm back. Yes, good morning. Yes. All right, here I am. Now then, where were we? Good morning, Eddie. You know, the interesting thing about technical glitches is that it's not that I don't expect them. It's that I have no idea what to do when they happen because I'm not the tech girl. Anyway, let's all have a cup of cheers and good morning, given that tech seems to be paying attention this time. Hang on. Alrighty then. I have had an extraordinary week so far. A week of discoveries, a week of aha moments, a week of wonderment. Oh my goodness gracious. And then when I woke up this morning and I realized that it was September the 11th and it's 24 years since the whole world had an extraordinary week and then forever after of ahas and surprises and recognitions and wonderments. And I think it's so important when we can not to deliberately dwell on the terrible, the stunning, the confusing, that's good, confusing, or the utter bliss, because to overly focus on those moments is a moment of walking away from our right now, our today, because we can't be in 2 places at once. You know, many years ago, I wrote a stage show about a scenario in which a man and a woman who had been childhood sweethearts in high school, they had the opportunity to reconnect. And she was single, but he wasn't. And it was his idea. And he had set it up in such a way that when he told his wife he wanted to meet with me, she was under the impression that it was a completely innocuous scenario. And he hid it from her. And then it fell apart because he couldn't hide it from her. And therefore he had to cancel because he couldn't do both. And it was a really interesting show to write and to perform. And I did it as a dinner theater. And on every table during the dinner, they had a little tent card. And the tent card said, if you had the chance to reunite with your first love, would you? And the second question was, what would you hope to find? And I had actually done a survey. I'd gone to a couple of bar restaurants at happy hours, and I had wandered around. I'd asked the questions, and I had a big, notebook. And what I wanted to get the answers to was the underlying question, which was, if you go there, if you deliberately go there physically, not just wondering, but physically go there, you're leaving your today behind. And I realized last night and then this morning that we make that decision a lot without really thinking about it. Good morning, Freddie. So I'm having a walk down memory lane, my lovelies, and I'm bringing you with me, and it is part of the conversation today, part of the theme today. If we go away and we are not including our today, somebody's going to be hurt unless we give everyone a heads up. Unless we say, I'm taking a me day, so I won't be as active, or I've decided to cut back. I've decided to do some personal stuff, some tidying up, some catching up, and I'll get back to you. If we don't give people that context, then what we do is inherently a walking away from the current situation, from the current relationship, from the current commitment that we have made, either, on purpose, out loud, or just by assumption because of the way we behave. And something happened to me that caused that to hit home a few weeks ago. Two things happened. I was at the Fanaticon, fabulous Fanaticon event, and I they have a contest. We have a contest every year at Fanaticon. It's a cosplay contest. And for those of you who don't know what that is, people love to go to these nostalgia events and dress as their favorite characters from shows, from books, from films, from video games. So they're costume players. And then they dress up, and then there's a contest, and the person with the most interesting, or the most what on earth, or the most amazing wins a prize. And it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And so when this happens at the event, there's nothing going on at the booth because everybody's over watching the contest. So I always say to my intrepid photographers, let's go and visit all the booths. Nothing's going on. Let's go visit all the vendors, and we'll go and we'll stand in the booth and get a picture with them, right? And so then we can add that to my collection, and we can get to know them and so on. And then after that, I go and I stand on the fringes of the cosplay contest and see if I can get pictures with all these crazy people. So this year, it was in a different location. And I said to my photographer, I want to get pictures with them. And he said, just ask permission, because, they're all, you're not getting a picture with them, they're getting a picture with the character. And I said, right. So I'm at the end of the line. The costume contest was going on over there. At the end of the line, I go to a few, and I say, quick picture? Yeah, sure, Abby. So we're all, like this, doing the thing, and the photographer's taking the picture, and I go to the next group, and you see, I'm doing this, go all the way up the line, and I'm keeping an eye on the NC, because I don't want him to, give me that look. Excuse me. So I'm being as unobtrusive as a redhead wearing a yellow and orange feather boa and fairy wings can be. And I'm working the room, and and then I'm getting within the proximity of crossing his line of sight, his axis. And then they would be tempted to look at me instead of him, at me instead of the contest. So that was where I was going to stop. And I did. And I'm walking away, and then I realized, oh my God, there's 4 amazing guys right there, just right there. And I love their costumes. And I said to the photographer, quick picture? And he said, sure, yeah. So I went up and I tapped the closest one on the shoulder, and he turned and he said, oh, hey, Abby. And I said, picture? And he said, yeah, sure. And he nudged the guy with him. And so they all 4 got up, and they all stepped back, and because they were all sitting. And I wasn't thinking about why they were sitting. I wasn't thinking about why they were sitting there. They were just there. And we got a picture. And then 4 hugs, right? And I walked away. And as I walked away, the photographer said, I got to hand it to you. That's the first time I've seen that. And I said, seen what? Because I'm sort of preoccupied. And he said, well, they were the judges. And I said, who were the judges? And then he said, I said, they weren't judging. And he said, so see, what I had done, not thinking, is I had just asked 4 costume players, as I had asked all the others, for a picture. All the others, though, were waiting in line for their moment. These four were the moment. They were the judges. The thing is, they didn't say no. They didn't say no. And I didn't get a poop poop from the microphone saying, hello, what are you doing? So they had to pause the contest. I'm realizing all this afterwards, thinking, oh my God. And then I waited till the end of the day, because obviously the organizer was busy, and I said, listen, about the contest, I'm so sorry. And he said, what are you talking about? Nobody had complained. And maybe it was because it was just quick. It was like 30 seconds. Maybe that was it. But I felt awful. And how am I going to go back and say to who, I have no idea who all those people were. How am I going to go back and say to all of them, I am so sorry. I did not intend. I did not mean. I was trying to be as respectful as possible. Should I have said to the MC, I'll come in and do pictures? Of course. Did I think of it? No. Why not? Busy. And by the way, everybody was busy. But I had been guilty of stepping into my world and my reality, and I had not paid attention to any of the number of people who were right in line then, who are now stopped because of my moment. And I had not considered them. And so for any of you who were those people, who might know those people, please pass along to them my sincere apology, because it was not my intention to rip the moment away from you. And then later that day, I realized that connected default, I don't know what that is. Can everybody hear me? Freddie, Eddie, can you hear me? Something might have happened with the tech. I don't know. Let me know. Later that day, someone else did that. Someone else chose to do something that was, I didn't know, yes. Someone else chose to do that very same thing in a different way that crossed my axis, that interrupted my flow. And I was surprised, shocked, and have been confused by it ever since. And it's now a month and a half ago. Why am I confused when I did the very same thing? And so this is what I want to talk about today, is that we forget that we are part of something when we are, something strange on the screen happened at the time you said that. The aspect ratio of the screen turned square for a split second. Okay. All right. Well, then it fixed itself. Thanks, Eddie. Yes, and you can hear me. Yay. I love my tech team. I love you guys and gals. So something happens when we opt in and opt out. And the tech just did it in synchronicity with what I'm saying. Tech glitch, screen went boop, boop. I ask Eddie, he says totally weird. Thank you, Freddie, so much. So this is what I want to talk about today. Long intro. Sorry about that. And maybe not so sorry. We get an idea. We live and breathe the idea. It becomes part of who we are. We breathe it, we live it, we think it, we dream it, we wear it, we talk it, we walk it. We can't imagine that other people would not similarly recognize what's going on. Because why? Because we're selfish? No, because we can only see out of these eyes. And while we're in this present moment, we can't walk over and see through those eyes. In fact, it's very difficult to see through those eyes, even if we can walk over. Can we do our best to consider the feelings and the priorities and the hopes and dreams of everybody involved? We can do our best, but we can't think of the whole world the whole time. Our brains aren't really wired that way. So what we try to do, as I had said in an earlier video, is no harm. We try to do no harm. We try to go in with the understanding that we hope to achieve no collateral damage. Collateral benefits, sure. Collateral damage, not so much. Of course, benefits and damage are on two sides of a coin, right? And so with one, we might get the other. I heard a great thing the other day. It said, you weren't sorry when they didn't know. And I thought that's a powerful statement. It implies, though, that you were aware of them, that you were thinking of them, and you did it anyway. It implies a kind of a negative context. I was not thinking and acting anyway in the cosplay contest, but it could have been perceived and received that way. So we all walk this line through life. When we do something we think is harmless and innocuous, there's always a ripple effect because all of our little molecules are always in motion. We're always Pivotry in motion, and we're always bumping into each other. And the hope is that the bump, the rub up, feels like a positive. That's what we're hoping. So my theme today is, how often do you choose you? And by definition, then, how often do you not choose you? How often do you give all the power away and go after the things you've always done, do and say and think and feel the things you've always known, rather than say, I choose me. This is mine today. How often are we aware that we are making these decisions? So I wrote a couple of notes because while this is a very simple question, it's complicated. And what I said was this, so forgive me for reading it. If I thought it, I should know it. I said, are you broken? Are we broken? Are they broken? Am I broken? And the answer is, of course, we're all broken. We're all broken. We're all flawed. We're all human. And we have all hit a wall and fallen down. And we have all had moments when it was a significant struggle to get back up. And for some of us, the getting back up is the long road back because we experienced something we didn't see coming. And the size of it and the weight of it and the suddenness of it altered something in a significant way, changed the broken in a significant way. And good morning, Frank Logan. How are you? And when those broken moments happen, and it's fresh and it's sharp and it's painful, we don't have the capacity quite often to be our typical usual self. And this is, and Eddie, I hope you'll excuse me, and Freddie, we've talked about all these things in our conversations. We have moments that we talked about for Pivotry in Motion, that we talk about in our lives, that we talk about in our careers. Can I get your advice? Can I bend your ear? I don't know what to do. I feel terrible. I'm having difficulty getting up and going to work and finding a way to smile today. What happened to me? What should I do? And the fact that we have each other to reach out to, the fact that we feel we can be vulnerable with each other is the blessing. If something huge had not happened to us, we would not recognize and be aware of the blessing. So in some ways, the hit the wall, fall down, stay there for a bit, gives us that doorway, that portal, that opportunity to lean in and be grateful and give thanks for the partnerships and the friendships and the relationships and the tools and the strategies and the insights and the understandings and the willingness to say, okay, I'm good and I can, sorry about that. And and I'm okay, and I will be okay. And that was a moment. And I will jot it down, I will remember it, because it caught my attention and it reminded me that there are things to be grateful for. I was talking I was talking with my producer Gary Swithenbank the other day, and I said every time I have a really bad cold, and I have not had one of those in a long time, so knock wood. um, you sense that you are no longer alone in this corporal corpus, and then it gets worse, and then it gets worse, and then you feel like wet Kleenex, and then gradually it gets better, and it gets better, and it gets better. And the day when you hear the angels sing, the moment is when you realize that you can breathe, that there is nothing, there is no obstruction. Your head is clear. Your eyes aren't watering. You don't feel like this. You feel like this. You wake up and you think, I'm back. And it's brilliant. It is, oh, if you had the energy, you would spike the fist. You would spike the ball. And we are so grateful. It's just so delicious. You know what's interesting about that? I feel like that right now. I can breathe like that right now. My head isn't heavy right now. My eyes are clear right now. I have the energy. And I've had it ever since I woke up. And I haven't been consciously grateful because it's my normal. It's my default. The thing is, we take it for granted. We take the gifts and the blessings for granted, not because we're callous and selfish, unthinking, but because they become part of our everyday. That's the blessing. The blessing is that they become part of our everyday. You know, I live in an apartment building. If the power is going to go out for some reason, they tell me. When I lived in a house, the power would go off. And that was how I got told, because it stopped. And we forget because we get busy. We get distracted. That these are the day-to-day, everyday blessings. The fact that all of the signals from the different parts of us get to the right destinations and things happen. And you know, I had a group of bikers fix a car of mine once that got broken into. And when they brought it back to me, scary moment. They brought it back to me. They said, "There's only one thing we can't figure out. Yeah, when you hit the high beams, the horn goes off." I said, "Good to know. Thank you." He said, "I don't know why." Well, sometimes in our lives, in our systems, you do something and something else happens, and you think, "What the hell is that?" And these are things we're not prepared for because we're focused on our everyday. We're We're focused on our smallest things, on the stuff. So while sounding, I just want to have, I just want to read this, okay? Thanks, Frank. A good sounding board, a shoulder to lean on, etc., to give us the opportunity to sit. Thank you, Eddie. Yes, yes. That's exactly what this is all about. To realize that we've got that. Somebody's got our back when we've got theirs. So today, I'm asking, how often do we lean into the gotta have, gotta do, gotta be story we've told ourselves that gives us a feeling that we qualify to be here in the group, to be a friend, to be part of a conversation, that we have somehow paid our dues, that we continue to put the dues paying first in order that there's only so much room in the cave, and it would be dangerous if we didn't show up, and somebody said, well, we got to get rid of some stuff. Who hasn't been pulling their weight? Let's get rid of him or her or that. And we don't want to be that. So how much, just on the everyday, do we say, no, it's okay, don't worry, no, I'm fine? How often do we say to ourselves, no, I'm fine, no, I'll do this, no, you know what, it's all right, no big deal, nothing ventured, nothing gained, no harm, no foul. And we step away from the job we have, the responsibility we have of defining our boundaries, establishing what they're for, what they serve, why they matter, what they change. And we give our power to someone else to make those decisions for us, to make those value judgments for us. How often do we do that? How often do we say, I had a marvelous lunch yesterday with this crazy, amazing woman we've known for years. She said, sometimes I really struggle. I have to tell myself forcefully, I have to look in the mirror and say, I am worth it. I am good enough. And I said, dear God, why would you ever question it? You're amazing. And she said, maybe I need to record that and I'll just play your voice at me. And I said, absolutely. Fire your cheerleader. She said, I'm my cheerleader. I said, never mind. Give your cheerleader to me and I'll give her some training. So this is what I want to say today about all of this. A whole bunch of people in advance of 9/11 decided they wanted to do something. They decided they wanted to do something important enough that they went to that much trouble to do it. And they looked at the probable fallout and said, worth it. They chose to say, harm and foul. First do harm to get the message across, the point across, the agenda across. And when we do that, we diminish ourselves first because we're the closest to us, but for making that decision and standing by it. And then we diminish everyone else because they become part of the fallout. They become part of the harm. So it is ours to own. Hang on. Slightly dry throat from my long lunch chat yesterday. It is ours to own. Period. It is ours to own that we give it away. It is ours to own that we choose to trespass. It is ours to own that after we've done it and realized it, what we do next about it. If I self-sabotage, if I put me last and I realize it, I need to tell me I'm sorry. I need to apologize. I need to give me a hug. I need to do it, and I need to say it. I need to write it down. I need to be grateful that I was reminded, and I have to clearly write a reminder not to do it again. And it's not choose me first. It's first do no harm to the best of our ability for the greater good. First do no harm. Who will this harm and who will this serve? And then I can make my value judgment. And then I can act accordingly. And then I can apologize. If at all possible, I make the value judgment, and before I act, I say to whomever, this is going to hurt me in a minute, but I got to do it. And so everyone is in the loop. No one is left blindsided. No one feels diminished, undervalued, invisible. And most important, we don't spend days, weeks, months, years, hours, moments rehashing it, rethinking it, re-wondering it. Because the longer we do that, the longer we're there and we are not here. The reason I've written it down, the reason I'm talking about it, the reason this is important, and therefore it is part of my present moment, I have a little hair, is that Pivotry in motion, the lion effect, the training concept, the coaching, mentoring concept that I have been working on for 7 years since I saw how cut adrift everyone was in the midst of COVID. And at the same time, I recognized how much training I had my whole life to override this. And then once I got into show business, the training I then applied to coach and mentor all kinds of people, corporate executives, government decision makers, people in relationships that were foundering and floundering, people getting into the business of show, of stepping up to say things. All those people that I taught and trained. Career planning and development, marketing, communications, messaging, branding, knowing who we are, rewriting our origin story. Decades and decades and decades of me doing this before I saw that this is a Pivotry mindset moment. Each one of those things we do happens when we choose it after we say, current this right now, not good enough. Check, please. I'm on my way. That is the mindset shift that takes place in all of us, all the time, awake and asleep, every day of our lives. And we don't know it. I know it. So putting together my concept with my producer partner, Gary Swithenbank, saying, we have an opportunity here to do something extraordinary. We have an opportunity to do this thing that I do. These beautiful, wonderful ABCAST videos that you are part of that make it worthwhile, that make it everything it's meant to be. This is a show and tell and share concept. The show is the stories that I tell. The tell is how that equates to a life lesson, a life blueprint, a life navigation tool, a life reset. And the share, the magic, is all your comments. So I'm on the screen right here. All the comments slowly come up as you're typing, as you're participating with me, because you are not spectators. You're looking and listening and thinking and feeling, and then saying, yeah, and what about this? You are part of all of this, because there is no all of this without you. This is the lion effect. This is Pivotry in motion. This is the way the world works. All the molecules bump and intersect and intertwine and connect and recreate and grow and change and survive and thrive. Nothing stays the same. So in this ABCAST today, how often do you choose you? The other side of that is, how often do you let it slide? How often do you walk away? How often do you say, no, it's okay? How often? Use your later folder. Think about that. And I want to share something that I think is really important to bring back into the conversation. I've mentioned it a couple of times. All of these are reminders. All of these are reset opportunities. All of these are directional finders. All of these are, why did I come into this room again? Rethinking your purpose and your passion and your focus, right? It was a short video, and the guy, there were two men, and one guy was a bit distracted, and he dropped something, and he said something, and the other guy said, "What's wrong?" And the first guy said, "Nothing really. No, I'm fine." And the second guy said, "No, this is not you. What's wrong?" And the first guy said, "Oh, I had a fight with my wife. You know what? Had a fight with my wife. It really bugged me. We didn't fix it. It's okay. I'm just kind of floundering in it. I'll deal with it when I get home, when I see her." And the other guy said, "Who said?" And the first guy said, "What?" The second guy said, "Who said you're going to make it home today?" And the first guy said, "What are you talking about?" The second guy said, "Who promised that you will get home today? Call your wife now." And I thought, we do that all the time. We do it all the time. That we're here at 10:36 a.m. Abbey, New York time gives us the confidence that we're going to be here at 10:37 and 10:38 and 10:39. But you know what happened on 9/11, 24 years ago? Not that. Not that. So I think the question at the end of this video, or now, maybe right now, is this: who should you call? Who should you not wait to talk to reconnect, to fix, to forgive, to say? Who said you will always have time to do that? Who said? And we will all go eep and gulp and realize that we take a lot for granted. A thing about breathing clearly. We are reminded how magical it is when we first recover from a cold, for the flu, whatever. When nothing hurts. I had a twinge for a long time after I fell over a pebble. Boof! Ow! Two people pick me up. You all right? Yes, thank you. But then twinge. A twinge for a long time. And I was walking, not that long ago, actually, because it's taken a while. I was walking and I suddenly realized, no twinge. And when I went to bed that night, I said, thank you. Thank you. I am grateful that there is no pain where there was pain. It had just gone away quietly by itself. There was no click. It was just gone. And I was busy and I carried on. So it doesn't hurt last thing at night before we go to sleep, and first thing in the morning, as soon as we wake up. If you woke up, you're here. Thank you. If you're in bed and you're going to sleep and there's a pillow under your head of any kind, no matter where you are, no matter what the bed looks like, that you are safe. Thank you. These are things we take for granted until suddenly they're gone. There's a poem, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. The moving finger writes, and having writ, moves on. And all thy piety and wit can't lure it back, nor all thy tears wash out a word of it. What we do is done and can't be undone. That's not part of the poem. This is Abby. What we do when it's done can't be undone. Why we did what we do, why we thought it was okay, doesn't matter once it's done. The question is, how do we take the next step? How do we recognize, own, and then see the context? And how do we say, I'm sorry, without undermining that with some sort of justification? I used to always be 15 minutes late for everything. And a friend of mine, and I would, it's like, God, I'd rush in. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I was coming to lunch with a very good friend of mine, and she said, okay, stop. And she said, you're always 15 minutes late, almost exactly 15 minutes late. And I said, no, but she said, no, you're always 15 minutes late. And I know why you're 15 minutes late. It's not that you don't respect me, although it is disrespectful. It's because you always think you're going to have enough time to do one more thing. So what I want you to do, she directed a lot of my shows. She said, what I want you to do is I want you to take that one last thing off the list. Whatever you suddenly at the last minute think, oh, and I can just do that. Don't do it. And I said, okay. And then when I was trying to do it, I found how hard it was, because it was ingrained in me to try and get all the stuff done. So I didn't have to loop back. But it didn't occur to me that thinking about me not wanting to loop back, I was not taking into consideration all the people, all the situations that were on my list. They had become buckets. They had stopped being people. They had become boxes I could tick. And when I took that last thing off, I said, well, if I take the last thing off, I'll be 15 minutes early. And who wants me? I don't want to wait for 15. And she said, oh. I said, oh, yeah. So now I am almost always early enough, early ahead to take care of unexpected surprises without inconveniencing other people. By doing that one thing, by recognizing that some things are better left until later, by recognizing that every box on my list, every bucket on my list is a person with feelings and their own set of priorities, because we are all connected. So the question that I asked and ask, how often do you choose you? How often do you instead choose the gotta haves, the gotta be's, the gotta do's? How often do you see you in the context of the people who have come to depend on you? How often do you plan ahead on the off chance that your decision will inconvenience those people who have become part of you? if you run a small business, if you're in a relationship, if you live in a community, if you share services, how often do you actively choose and think of the consequences? That's the later folder. I have told you all along that the huge value of the later folder, I'm going to pick one up here and walk it through in case you're new and you don't know. So I call it the later folder because it's something we use now and then think about, process, and forgive later, instead of carrying it with us toxic in the forefront of our minds every day. And what I have said is, when you're getting ready to go to work, something goes wrong, it makes you late. What I want you to do when you finish that section of the getting ready and you're now about to get in the vehicle, in the transportation, leave the house, just quickly say, eyeliner pencil, toothbrush, use toothpaste instead of hand cream. And you write that down, all those things that caused you to be late and frustrated, draw a line underneath them and put it away in your pocket. And by the way, you can carry it with you. It's the same size as your phone. And then wait until the end of the day. So every section of time, the end of the commute, when you get to work, when you take your coffee break, when it's time for lunch, every section of your day, pause, write down, just jot in point form what it was that threw you off. Write it down, acknowledge it, save it for later. At the end of the day, when you're getting ready for bed, open the folder. Go through each one of those things. If they still upset you, circle them. That means they are a trigger of some kind. They are a learning point of some kind. If they're fine, it means that saving them till later allowed the to diminish naturally. What I also want you to do is, at the end of this review, I want you to ask 2 questions. The first question is, did I choose me today? Did I choose me today? I'll say it a third time. Did I choose me today? Second question. Was that okay? Was that okay? Was that okay? I said it 3 times in case you're writing. By saying, was that okay? That question is, did I do harm? If I didn't choose me, was that okay? If I did choose me, was that okay? And at the end of that day, however many pages it took, say thank you. Thank you for the folder. Thank you for the idea. Thank you for the connection. Thank you for all the scenarios and situations and people and the lessons and the gratitude and the opportunity to begin again tomorrow. What we're going to create with this training, with this Lion Effect team of speakers, oh my God, the Lion Effect is just going to be so. The Lion Effect, picture a pride of lions. The Lion Effect is the impact when people get to connect, watch, interact with, learn from, grow with my lion pride of speakers and coaches and mentors and trainers. It's awesome. The Pivotry in motion concept is flipping learning and growing on its ear. I'm inviting you to choose you. I'm inviting you to feel that you deserve to do this by creating an entertainment concept. The word was coined many, many years ago. I didn't coin it, but it's great. It's edutainment. My new one-woman show, yes, but not with you, is part and parcel of the opening act, the introduction to your new opposites in this resurgence, re-energizing, refocus, reset, recalibration that we all need today in a busy, connected, fast-paced world where people feel uncertain and therefore don't always do their best or brightest thing. We need to know we are safe here, now, together. We need to know that. The moment we know that, we feel it, we get it, our breathing is clear. We got this. We're back. We're awesome. The show, the concept, the presentation is show, tell, share. No one's done it. We're doing it. And if you're wondering where the lions are, thank you, Bruce Coburn. If you're wondering where the lions are, pick up a mirror, look in it. We're in it together. Okay, 10:50. It's a longer video. We have a very interesting and fabulous and exciting weekend coming. For a lot of people, it's scary. For a lot of people, it's overwhelming. For a lot of people, it is unprecedented. For a lot of people, an important decision has to be made. Important choices, important new directions have to be taken. When we pick up the map and we say, I'm choosing to go this way. I'm choosing me today. By definition, it means we are choosing to not stay there or go that way. However good or wonderful or kind or amazing or enriching or empowering it was, change is constant. And when the wind shifts and the tide turns, it's time to be on our way. This is what the month of September means to all of us without really thinking about it. It's a rebirth in every way. And I'm so grateful for this platform, for this opportunity, for these videos, for you, that I get to work through all of these ideas and present them all to you. And when you make the decision, I don't know if any of you have bumped into the latest thing that was in the news that someone saw and heard and recorded and wrote down, that the singer-songwriter businesswoman Taylor Swift said. Not talking about the music, not talking about her entertainment career. Businesswoman, human being, said, your energy is a luxury product. Not everybody can afford it. Not everyone will choose to afford it, will save up to afford it, prioritize to afford it. That's their choice. That's their situation. Your energy, and by energy, she meant talent, creativity, connection, investment, passion, purpose, direction, focus, is a luxury item. top shelf. Don't undersell it. Don't undervalue it. You are the one person who is always with you 24/7, night and day. Do not abandon you. No matter how broken we all are, we can't, makes me tear, we can't abandon us. We are us. All that happens when we do that, when we choose us last, is we make the journey harder. We make the gift, the burden, the goal heavier. And roughly, how silly, foolish, dumb are you listening to you is that? Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for telling your friends. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for keeping me on track. Thank you for saying, let me know when you're coming back, because it means the world to me. So before I go, there is a process, there is a pattern. Remember to be good to you. You deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones because they deserve it too. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.